Good afternoon. Thank you, Dr. Venkatesh, for this introduction. I'm actually very grateful and honored to be able to speak here. As you could hear, I've come all the way from Portugal to attend this conference. Not only this conference, the truth shall be said. If we can bring up the first slide, I'm going to talk to you about something that, okay, then I can walk around. I'm going to talk about digitalization in healthcare. Digitalization in healthcare in India is without any doubt also going on and is starting to have a rather accelerated pace. But what I have found in the past, and the same thing has happened in Europe and in the United States, is that digitalization in healthcare is a very complex problem because engineers and doctors rarely speak the same language. And it's very difficult to make an engineer understand what the doctor needs and vice versa, to make sure that the doctor understands what the engineer is saying. What we have is really a problem of information sharing. And if we can bring up the first slide here, we have been talking about electronic health records for ages. That's true. But what is an electronic health record is not very clear to people. And it's not very clear in any society. The prevailing situation that we have is actually the one depicted on the left side. But this is not only true for electronic health records, it's also for clinical management today. In reality, doctors are in normal situations blind to what is going on, and there is no, you can read for yourselves, and there is no post-OPD monitoring of whatever the treatment was and whether it has a positive effect. We go to the next one just to almost conclude the current situation when it comes to information sharing with stakeholders. And we had a very interesting example here before, because everybody said we need to go back to the clinical history of the patient in order to do the right thing. If we do this, we need to have the information at our fingertips. We cannot go through heaps of paper and try to understand what has been going on in the past with this patient. So let's create a state-of-the-art information system that actually helps us doing that. And here we see one of these examples. LinkedCare has been investing a lot of time together with many doctors that gave us advice on how to run through a normal consultation. And LinkedCare, which we'll be demoing also during the show out there, is the result of this work. What LinkedCare has is basically a full suite of solutions. It includes the agenda of the document, of the doctor, showing when the doctor will be available. The doctor can even be available on several locations. And then patients can book an appointment either online or they call in to the doctor's assistant, and the doctor or the assistant book the appointment. Once the appointment is booked, the patient can move to the doctor's office. He will be in the waiting room, and that is supported by LinkedCare. But he can also come to the doctor on video. And the funny story is actually before COVID, you know, when we were suggesting that video could actually be an excellent solution, everybody said, nah, well, we'd rather see the patient. Today, the situation is completely reversed. If doctors can say, okay, please keep the patient away, they will keep the patient away. And it's easily possible because you will have the video completely integrated in the tool. Then we go to the consultation. The consultation has two main elements to support. One is the SOAP, this routine to have subjective, objective evaluation and plan for the patient, so that the patient leaves doctor's office with a plan. And ICD-10 is I don't need to tell you what ICD-10 is, but we have ICD-10 100% integrated in LinkedCare, so that when you type 3 letters, you will immediately be given a drop-down list with all the options that are there corresponding to those 3 letters. And then finally, you end up with a prescription. You can prescribe medication, you can prescribe additional analysis or exams. The interesting thing with particularly prescribing medications is, again, we use the same routine. Type in a couple of letters, you will get the drop-down list, and you can see what are the options that you have. This is particularly interesting because, you know, there's such a lot of information available and so many options all the time. It's virtually impossible to have all those options at the front of your head all the time. So this is what LinkedCare is about. If we continue, it's actually not only an electronic health record, it's a learning electronic health record. What do we mean by this? Every consultation you have, LinkedCare records automatically, without the doctor's intervention, what has been done. And this is, I don't have to tell you that, but this is important in many aspects, not least in order to have all the time the necessary documentation in case you're subject to a alleged malpractice suit in court. You have all the health information of the patient in one place. You have virtual visits. Patients can self-schedule their visits. By incorporating not only the doctor-patient relationship, but the relationship of one patient with several doctors, you can actually guarantee a certain care continuity, because you can also include pharmacists, physiotherapists, etc. So you have really an advanced care continuity system there. And one of the things that we focused very much on was actually to optimize the internal workflow of the doctor. The result of all this eventually will be that we make a significant contribution to what is called generally population health, because all the data that are collected there can then be utilized and made available to the health authorities, and you can actually take very important conclusions from that. I don't need to tell you that, because we are living rather important and turbulent times with the pandemic. But imagine you had a tool like LinkedCare that would record everything that is going on in the whole country at all times. This is just a summary of the main functionalities of LinkedCare. I'm not going to go through that in detail. What we say is basically you have your entire practice in one single application. And that application runs on your laptop, it runs on your tablet, or it can run on your mobile phone. There is the 2 main phases, the ProLinkedCare phase, that is the one that is used by the doctors. And then, since doctors and patients can be linked, we have My LinkedCare, that is the phase that is shown to the patient. So just to simplify it, when a doctor issues a prescription to a patient, the patient can see the prescription on his My LinkedCare portal. Finally, just to round that off, there is obviously a mobile application. So here you see the mobile application for the doctor. And with this, I would like to thank you very much for your attention. And I hope that we will see each other during this conference. We will be out there somewhere, and we will be demonstrating and showing and explaining in detail what LinkedCare is about. Thank you very much. Do we have any questions?